I dropped the Citadel 100 times, so let's get straight into game number 1. The first few games I played with my brother Jub, so we did some zero builds, but the majority of these games actually ended up being build mode. After the Ageless so rudely interrupted my 1v2, I slaughtered him and took his mythic weapons. With the circle getting smaller, I used the Goku smash on this player hiding inside a house, but he was completely unaffected. Of course, you already know we finished game 1 with a clean win, so let's just move on to game number 2. Shortly after putting this cat down, I had to save my fallen comrade from the Deku sitting right next to his body. Unfortunately, it didn't even matter in the end because of one well-placed rocket and a few SMG shots. Game 3, I locked eyes with Dr. Doom and sprayed him down while he stood frozen in fear. His teammate tried to avenge him, but I used the trusty crevice to escape. I then jumped him using the zipline. I found the safest way to take down the Ageless, but I kill him basically every game, so I probably won't show it again. I found a cheap knockoff Zemi who ran to cower inside of the castle at Anvil Square. We got in the capture point to lure him out, and I took him out with a classy no-scope. I pushed two players and immediately regretted it. I attempted to make a great escape just to give someone else free boss loot. The final zero build game for a little while started off with some very casual murder. We found some bush bandits using a Falcon Scout to transport some illegal substances, and of course we were having none of that. One of them abandoned their teammate while the other stupidly ran straight at us. Jub went down, but I ended up winning the game with a clean zero build 1v2. Game 5, I was joined by my cooler brother, Connor. We heard some commotion over at Breakwater Bay, so we became the cleanup crew. But first, I had to remove this carpet because it smelt of trash. I located the trash and removed it as well. I found the litter bug scuttering around the Citadel and punished him for his crimes. I'll just skip to the end because everyone else was equally as trash. You can tell Connor hasn't played in a while because everyone is terrible! Game 7, we were finally starting to get put up against players who weren't complete bots, and I'm still pretty rusty at this point, and the goal of this video is to get not so rusty and actually maybe kinda good. Although they weren't better enough. And I'm not rusty enough to choke the... like I was saying, I'm not rusty enough to choke the 1v2 dub. Sneaking and sniping in game number 8. While rotating into circle, we were jumped by someone and he soon regretted it. I will admit though, he had some dedication to stick that res. Connor jumped at the last team and he said he got them both to 1 HP. I then shot one with my SMG for 100 shield and got jumped by the other. Game 9, I dropped at this tower so I can safely loot before I get into a fight. I ended up dropping here for most of the duo games I played with Connor. I got a nice icy slide wipe before getting wiped off the face of the map. Game 10, I dressed as Luigi to assert my dominance. I crushed some turrets outside of Faulty Splits, then asserted said dominance with the Breacher shotgun and my rusty editing skills. We found the final player who turned out to be Jub, and we easily won. Game 11, I threw some impulses to help Connor rotate out of the Citadel faster. Yes! I killed the person from that one concert and their twin before being incinerated by the Haiku smash. Connor went kaboom. Enemy builds filled with blood. Down fell small rodent. Game 12, I questioned if I really wanted to be a YouTuber or maybe I just wanted to be a poet instead, especially after that death. Game 13, I had the opportunity to try out some of the unvaulted weapons and new exotics. I'm glad these stayed for the entire season. Game 14, someone so kindly bought a loadout for me and handed it over peacefully. His friend was also a kind chap and allowed me to place my shotgun gently up his... Turns out this whole lobby was very nice because this guy let me headshot snipe him with ease and his teammate did the job for me. Hatsune Miku, that's how that's pronounced, right? Let me end her life and this soccer skin let me earth shatter him. The last player I fought was kind enough to end my match so I could go to the bathroom. What a nice guy. Game 15, however, people were not as nice. I swore to never use the heavy shotgun again after game 16. It is trash, and so am I. Game 17, I was hit by the Haku. How do you pronounce these anime names? I was hit by that out of nowhere. Game 18, my luck was superb and I got 2 llamas. My skill, however, is not. Game 19, we decided to focus up and stop being complete potatoes. The deagle kinda hit different. I hope it comes back sometime soon. I got a reboot off and then I sniped the Blev. We were attacked by his teammate shortly after, who I can only assume must have been Cypher PK. Little Blev tried to crawl over to Cypher, but I bopped him. Cypher ran to the van to try and get the Blev back in the game, but unfortunately for them, Cypher wasn't showing Ninja enough movement. This superhero thought he was better than the guy who was able to beat Ninja and Cypher PK. He was pretty obviously wrong. The final player tried to thirst Connor, but I bonked him good for 125, then shortly after ended his suffering. Game 20, my shotgun wasn't loaded, so he came 20th place. Fitting. We died off spawn 2 more times, which was fun. Game 23, we were uncontested, so we actually survived this time. I choked some edits on this guy, but he tripped and met an untimely demise. My man Danish Beans tried to stand still for first shot accuracy. I told Connor the enemies have an angle, and then he said I know and immediately got shot from said angle. I heard voices in my head telling me to kill them. Kill them all. Although it might have just been that gust of wind. I took the exotic off of Connor's corpse and used it to listen to the voices. My final opponent picked the Rift C augment, thinking it would save him. Little did he know, I am not mentally sane. I thought fulfilling the wishes of the voices would save me from their wrath, but game 24 I only craved more bloodlust. We made it to the end game with 9 people left. This is gonna be a good one. The voices told me to do this one. I still feel bad about it to this day. Connor died while I cleaned up that guy's teammate. It's all up to me now. This Jonathan tried to hit me with the Count Dooku smash, but I beheaded him before he had the chance. The last duo used that as an opportunity to push me. They let me shoot them in the face without building a roof, so I got a little bit cocky and almost died. I hit a pretty nasty shot to win that game, so it's time to go for back-to-back-to-back wins. I haven't been showing a lot of the early game because, to be honest, with the vaults in the game right now, it's a little bit uncontested, and it's usually just like 1 or 2 kills and then a little bit of looting. We based up on a mountain because 3 wins in a row would be pretty pog. A team snuck up behind us and somehow only had a body shot snipe on me. We dealt with them and repositioned back onto the mountain to try and secure the Vicroy. I rushed a team that was trying to stick a res, and bro thought he was a creeper. I very intentionally threw here because I wanted to watch Connor clutch up the game. Oh no, the voices, they're back! I was in a bit of a scuffle when suddenly Raikou used thunder and it blasted me out into the storm. Luckily, it was not very effective, so I managed to survive. He once again went for thunder, but it's not very accurate, so I was able to get off and attack myself. Somehow they died to storm. That was kind of a boring way for it to end. We were going for the 5 wins in a row, game 27, and I don't know what you expected. Let's just get through these next games quickly and pretend they never happened. Game 31, a Demogorgon casually walked through my wall and shot me in the face. The NPC I hired came in clutch and started rezzing, then he realized I'm a bad boss and left me for dead. Game 32, we killed the hooligans who tried to drop Citadel. We ran into some kids on our way to zone, but the tactical pistol does the job. Plus a little bit of BM. Same goes for this team. We had a good match in our hands until Hiku smeared our organs across the pavement. Game 33, I saw a kid riding his bike through the neighborhood. Maybe after that one he'll wear a helmet. This guy also got a piece of the heavy sniper, and so did his teammate. Kind of. Why he did this is still a complete mystery. As you can see, I'm going into this endgame with fully maxed mats. And here is me losing because I ran out of mats. How did I manage that? For pretty much the entirety of Game 34, we were complete shambles with low mats and no meds. While scrounging around for some meds, we were spotted by a team with the explosive AR. We decided the best way for us to come back from this would be to get a kill for a refresh. Someone went for a reboot, but of course, this late in the game, he was bound to be jumped. And we were the ones to do it. Turns out he laid gas cans on the floor, and we weren't the only team looking to stop that reboot. We escaped in even more shambles than we were before. Connor went down, but I couldn't get the res because of Storm, and naked and afraid, I jumped into the nearest bush and hid from the 10 players still remaining. I was pushed out of the bush by a rocket, and with no mats, the whole lobby sprayed me down. Game 35, I enjoyed my very limited time left with the heavy sniper, while Connor abused the most balanced item to ever come into this game, until eventually, we got the win. Game 36, I died. 37. Game 38, we fought a team, but another team hurt us. Connor was down for the first fight of Game 39 because I accidentally punched him in the throat. It's okay though, I still killed our attackers. We made it over to the ice lake when I realized he is just terrible at rocket riding. We went to get our mats up when we were pushed by a car. We bopped them. We snowballed our way into safety but had to abandon the snowball to get into zone. Right as we jumped with a hammer, someone shotgunned me out of nowhere and chased me down, and yeah, I died. Game 40, we were kitties. We were cats. I of course landed at the safe tower right next to the small village, but I somehow didn't realize that chest spawned, so I left with some pretty terrible loot. We fought this Leroy kid, but his shotgun was no match for my suppressed pistol. His teammate shot me for all my health, so I naturally blamed Connor while he finished the fight for me. We spent the rest of the match trying not to get blasted by the kids up on the mountain, but by the time we were in the final circle, it was looking like an easy win. Especially after I turned this game into a 2v1. I used a 0-point dash to push the final player. After that turn of events, we now know the world is a dark and horrible place. No, this isn't a phase. It's a lifestyle. I entered a fight just outside of the Citadel and died to a sneaky little man. We realized our view on the world was entirely correct, and we are now dead inside and outside. Understandably. Game 43, I realized a goldfish could aim better than me. Game 44, I realized a goldfish would probably also know not to 50-50 that fight. Game 45, I played with some subscribers live, so maybe you should subscribe and join the Discord if you want to be in some future videos I have planned. Wink, wink. That sounded sus. Not like that. The Peely party went for a quick ride across the map, except Connor. He is still terrible at rocket riding. and that was not my fault at all. We destroyed the entire lobby with our banana greatness, and by we, I mean mostly Galaxy. But I was there. Game 46, we got 3 llamas. Make that 4 llamas. But in the end, it didn't even matter because we were picked off one by one. Game 47, Galaxy forgot that I'm the one in charge here, so he landed across the entire map and died alone. I journeyed far and wide to get to his reboot card, only to get embarrassed by the people who were on top of it. Game 48, we got into a bit of a quarrel outside of Anvil Square. Galaxy went down, but he cracked both players, so I pushed. Connor went down, but I managed to finish off the remaining players. After getting the band back together, we once again found 3 llamas. Broadsword got knocked as we were entering the endgame, and while trying to avenge him, I got a little bit cocky and got killed myself. Galaxy had to fight off an entire squad by himself to win this game. He played well, but there wasn't much he could have done. Game 49 was the final game with subs, and we had to make it a good one, so we became defaulty boys, and hey, that tree kill was pretty nice. We had a couple of close calls, but we all ended up fine, until we weren't so fine. I was the last one alive and low on mats, but I couldn't leave my defaulty brothers behind, so I went for a reboot in a 5-tick storm and barely survived it. I couldn't get broadsword, though his car was too deep in storm. I'm sorry. Despite our scuffed loot and mats, we managed to get a few kills, which allowed Galaxy and Connor to get some usable guns, which we used to win the game. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand. Well, that was so bad. Game 51, I died to someone I probably should have killed. Game 52, nothing really happened until the end game, where everyone was kind of just boxed up, playing really hard for the win, and whenever we tried to fight somebody, they would just run, which isn't great. We had no choice but to play by their rules, because at this point, I was getting low on mats with no way to get more. The remaining players were all above us, so we chopped them out, and despite them playing hard for the win, they didn't put up much of a fight. Game 53, I played with people who don't even play Fortnite, so it didn't go well at all. Game 54, while venturing, a whole team disguised as props attacked us, and unfortunately, we didn't survive. That was a weird one. I played 2 solo matches after that, one where I died instantly, and the other game I ended myself so Shadow Rager could join. So the thing about Shadow Rager is there is something seriously wrong with him, so of course he wanted to do a hammer-only challenge. The first attempt did not go so well. I cheated and still died game 58 because I forgot Shadow only plays 0 build. Game 59, I scared these players off with these totally legal guns, and then I snatched the Mythic Hammer. I reluctantly dropped the Gold Rocket and attacked the team that contested us, but I had to run. I got a few hammer hits in, but it turned out to be a very long game of cat and mouse, and eventually, I died to the Gold Rocket that I dropped. Back to solos, game 60, and it was off to a pretty gunky start. Game 61 was off to a slightly less gunky start after killing this kid. Turns out Jub was in my game again, but he was still an easy kill. This guy picked party time, but thankfully he probably won't make that mistake ever again. After leaving the Citadel, there were already very few players remaining, so of course I got to work. I made a bad edit on Tony Stark, so he jumped straight at my box, but thankfully he failed to clean up the kill. This endgame was something special because of Mega Ramp! I tried to take out the creator of Mega Ramp! Because clearly he's too powerful to be left alive, but I failed. The last 2 players began fighting right next to Mega Ramp! So I used this as an opportunity to claim it for myself. This player faced my wrath, now it's just me versus the legend who built Mega Ramp! We duked it out for a while, but eventually I took him down. And it turns out the last guy wasn't even the one who built Mega Ramp! So now I'm just sad. Game 62, I killed these people who were teaming. At least I'm pretty sure they were teaming. Hard to tell. After I made it to top 3, I shot this guy's NPC because I was pretty sure he was boxed up in that brick, and I got baited pretty hard there. Game 63, I once again got sniped in the face. Game 64, I got this kill, then died. The next few matches were all terrible. I'm finally on to game 69, and by this point, I've been dropping at this tower that directly connects to the capture point with a zipline. This player was unarmed, so I was on top and blasted him in the face. The boss tried to smash me, but I was having none of his tomfoolery. This Cypher PK exploded on both of us, but I took it like a champ. I hit this guy with my sniper, and he tried to heal up, but I finished him with ease. Boxed up and afraid, this player tried healing, but he must have not realized I was coming, and I got right in and got him good. It's a 1v1, and I already hit a snipe on the only other player. He tried to run, but I made sure to pump him hard. The next few games are all completely awful, so I'm using this as a chance to say, use my code Fatalix, please, to get next season's Battle Pass. It will help me out a lot, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, cool, back to the games. This person decided to be the perfect example of why it's not worth trying to fight the boss before you clear out the Citadel. There were only 2 enemies remaining, and I just nudged one off a cliff with my bullets. The last player didn't look very good, but never underestimate my ability to just throw games. Game 75 is probably the worst match in this entire video. I started game 76 by slipping some nades into this guy's box. Then I slipped myself into his box. I got this young punk off my lawn after my scar finally decided to shoot straight. This superhero could smell the blood on my hands, so he keyed me. I managed to escape for now, but I have no mats, so if he finds me, I'm dead. He found me. And just let me shoot him and kill him, no questions asked? The circle was closing right outside of the Citadel when my stormark alerted me of a player creeping below. He made a run for it, knowing he was seconds away from death, but when I chased him, I accidentally landed on a different player. This is a different kid! Who are you? Who are you?
The people that just woke up, whose house I just broke into.
I took an AR fight with this player trying to hold me when someone killed him for me. In the final circle, I rained fire from above with my legendary pistol while other players cowered in their boxes. By this point, my mats were starting to get pretty low, and everyone was just too scared to just take a fight, so I was struggling to get a refresh. My lack of mats in the game not letting me mantle here was inevitably my downfall. Let's cut straight to the end of game 77, where I'm once again in a top 3 scenario, but this time I actually have mats. I finished off the better of the 2 players to once again make it a 1v1. He was a very slippery player. Like previous matches, he just wanted to survive as long as possible and not engage in an actual fight with me, so I ended up using pretty much all of my mats again. I eventually won, but it was still an annoying endgame. Game 78, I sneak attacked this player, but then he mantled at me out of nowhere, and then my hammer didn't work, and then his NPC started shooting me, and I got shot out of the sky, and it was just a mess. My shotgun just didn't shoot game 79. It's not my fault. It's never my fault. Ah! Game 81, I just completely outbrained this guy, and then I went to kill the... Game 82, this kid shot me once, then chased me down for the longest time until eventually I got rattled. Game 83, I thought I was safe to fight the boss. How mistaken I was. Game 84, my cousin Kyle joined me for some duos. We ran into a team while rotating to circle, so we dealt with them accordingly. Another duo heard the commotion, and we had to fight them while a storm was on its way.
Dead.
One kamikazed right on Kyle, and his teammate ran away while I went for the res.
Oh my god,
we're marked,
dude.
by the way.
There's 8 people in the igloo. What is going on?
Oh my god. After getting one low and wanting to prevent a res, I pushed up to finish him off, and right as I did that, a different team jumped Kyle, and it all went downhill from there. Game 85, we got into some rough fights at the Citadel, and I learned the Thunder Shotgun can't shoot if it only has 1 bullet in it. Wish I knew that beforehand. Game 86, after cleaning up a few fights just outside of Anvil Square and making our way over to Slappy Shores, we found someone who somehow managed to get the exotic explosive rifle after the heisted event had already ended. I accidentally hammered Kyle into storm like the great teammate I am, and then got obliterated point blank by that one item I gave up trying to think of names for. Game 87, I was joined by my good pal Zach. During this session, I was actually playing better than usual, so despite Zach getting bopped a few times, we won this game. Game 88, I died. Then Zach's bike tried to drown him, and he also died. We kept our hands relatively clean until the end game of Game 89. In the final 2v2, the other team used the every possible second, but despite that, Zach went down to a shotgun. I was able to convert this to a 1v1, and luckily for me, the final player picked the Rift Ejector C perk, which ended up killing him to storm, so that's nice. I just want to get Game 90 over with quick, because it's one I'd like to forget ever happened. Game 91, Zach was talking to his mom, and he said that is a very valid excuse for us dying here. These people thought they could contest my tower drop Game 92. They were sorely mistaken. Whoop! And now we're in the late game, where I just took out this player and gave his friend the smackdown with my shockwave bow. Then someone gave me the smackdown with their shockwave bow. You just need to see from multiple POVs just how badly Zach disrespected this team. The next fight we got, and he killed this player with a headshot no-scope, so I think it's safe to say he's the MVP of this match. We couldn't let this game go to waste, so naturally we survived into quite a serious, schmerious endgame. Yup, 16 players still up in a pub. This is gonna be a rough one. After fortifying this barn, we went for some tags on anyone we had the chance to. The team under us must have taken notice of our murderous intent because they began bombarding us with rockets. They may have 2 rocket launchers, but we have the power of friendship. and a mythic hammer. We made it to the final 2v2, and we made it to the final 2v1, and we not only claimed this guy's life, but also a pretty nice victory royale. I fought this team with the Citadel game 95 while Zach used a rocket launcher on himself. Yeah, the rest of the match went about as well. Game 96, I shattered every bone in the lower half of my body, so it was basically impossible to run, especially when the entire lobby was focusing us. Zach wouldn't have gotten kidnapped in game 97 if I had properly taught him about stranger danger. Because yeah, they're dangerous. Game 98, I forced Zach to become my accomplice in this murder, and the coppers showed him what's up. But we're partners in crime, I couldn't leave him to die. Turns out they called in backup, and we didn't see that coming. Game 99, Zach got me this Gold Thunder shotgun. Turns out he was just regifting it because he didn't want it, so I didn't feel too bad when I died with it. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, Game 100. We were only contested by one team and a few AIs for the final match. After dealing with that, we left and never looked back. We made it all the way down to the southern side of the zone, where a team ziplined right at us. Zach's party was officially pooped on, but Game 100 isn't over just yet. I thwarted the fiends who took Zach's life, but I failed to get a reboot off because the van is as loud as the tornado siren. I skedaddled out of there and scavenged around for some heals. I got this kill that Zach thought was impressive. He doesn't need to know it was just a robot. I found a jackpot of loot under these builds, and now with my better meds and maxed out mats, I might actually have a chance to win Game 100. Other than me, there was just a duo and a solo left, so I did what I could to tag up the duo while they fought each other. I got this guy, and the down got finished, but somehow I thought that was the solo dying, so I pushed up to kill who I thought was the last player, but then I was shot from behind. The meds from that giant pile of loot came in pretty handy, and I was able to take out this player, who didn't know I had his wall. It's the final 1v1 of the final game, and this player has the low ground. Storm pushed up the cliff, so he hammered up, and I claimed the final win of this video.
Let's go, baby! Wake up, Fatalix just went beast mode.
Smash subscribe.
You need to add that
that's not
at
right.
like the end screen.
That's the end screen right there.